Next item on the list would be the height adjusters. There's a couple different ways of doing this. Amvic provides a 4-inch reversible factory molded height adjuster. The downside to that particular product, if used in the wrong spot, it doesn't have a cross web or anything to fasten to, so you got to make sure you're going to put it in the proper place in the wall. And then we have site fabrication of height adjusters. So what happens with it is we can determine what they have to be and actually create them on site. So if we happen to want to put a height adjuster in the middle of a wall, we'll stack the wall up to the required height. We'll install the pieces of height adjusters. They're 4 inches high. And then we carry on with the next row. So we end up with a full block above and a full block below, encasing that height adjuster, and then you're going to want to connect that. So we put cleats on that be wide enough to fasten into the webs down below and the webs above, and that's going to hold that adjuster in place, and it'll help you reinforce it for concrete pour. And then you carry on up to the top of the wall. Now, if you want to actually fabricate on site, so what I'll do is I'll stop and determine my height of wall and decide if what I have to do to my forms to hit my exact height required. And because of our forms being reversible, we can get basically 4 height adjusters out of each block up to an 8-inch height with cross webs. So that's always the way I try and do it, is to make sure that I can use the webs, use the blocks. I tend to get 4 pieces out of it, and they're connected horizontally. Not necessarily the way to do it all the time. Sometimes you have to put the height adjuster in the middle of the wall, and that's why we do the 2-sided interlock. The downside to this particular situation is you have one side that's flat, one side that's interconnecting. So you want to make sure you're going to put this at the bottom or the top of the wall so that you deal with that properly. So we're going to stack the forms again. If we're putting it at the top, you would get your height adjusted, figure out exactly where you have to be, and then cut them. Now, if there's a bunch of them to do, you may want to set up a table saw and run them all through at the same time. And it would look like so when you stack it on top of a wall. Depending on where the horizontal web is, based on the height of your height adjuster, you may want to put some extra reinforcing on there. It's the same principle as doing a footing. You're going to put a cleat on both sides with some crossers, and that will just keep that wall from tilting out on you on the top when you pour the concrete in there. Keeps it nice and straight, very strong.